Oh, hi, dear. How was it? I mean, how are you? Not how was it? Yeah, you want to get a glass of water. It's water. You don't ask someone how was it. That's silly. I mean, it's water from the fridge. It doesn't taste like anything. I mean, maybe it tastes like something. I mean, I'm sure there's some degree of difference. I mean, maybe you're even better at identifying it by virtue of being a water elemental. Actually, which, come to think of it, I guess you really could have just made a glass of it yourself with your magic. But come to think of that, how nuanced is your control of the water's composition? Like, I mean, can you affect how the water tastes? I mean, that wouldn't really be a part of the water elemental magic, I don't think, since, I mean, that would be reliant on the other things within the water itself, and controlling those would be different branches of magic, I would think. But maybe that's also just taking way too granular of a look at the magic itself, and I'm getting a little too in the weeds. I'm just gonna give you another kiss if that's okay. Hi. I love you. I, I hope that's okay. No, not that. I love you. I mean, well, yeah, yes. I mean, of course, I would hope that that's also okay, but I feel pretty safe assuming that it is. I, uh, I'm, I'm more so meant I hope it's okay that I um uh that I say it that much. I mean I don't ever want to say it too much, if that makes sense. Not that I really even know exactly what would be too much. I just know that some people feel different ways about it. Like, if you say it constantly, like a reflex or something, that it starts to kind of lose its meaning, maybe, and I mean, I would never want that to happen. But I'd also never presume to know where that line of too much is for anybody, because everybody's different, I love you is such a specific sentiment to say often, because I mean it generally kind of comes with the expectation, rightly or wrongly, that the other person has to say I love you back. So I mean it's kind of a statement that can come off as an expectation of reciprocation, in a really um cynical light. It could even seem like someone is saying it just so they can hear it back, and that's not how I'm saying it, and I don't think that's how you ever say it, or how you think I say it. I just wouldn't ever want to seem like that's why I'm saying it, or like I'm assuming that that's what you're assuming I'm saying it's for. It's um God, what is my point here? I just, I just want to express that I know I say I love you a lot. Well, I've often, I know I say it often. I've just always kind of approached it from the mindset of, if you feel it, then that's a wonderful thing, and 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 you should say it to the other person, because I mean, so often we just we we just we we just think negative stuff. I mean, that's kind of human nature, and most people don't take the time to say when things are good. I mean, they usually just call out when something is bad, and um that's not how I like to live my life. Because I mean, there's already enough bad stuff out there without me giving that crap even more power. So when I feel good, I like to say that. And when the thought in my head is I love you, I like to say it. And I just hope that's okay. And I can throttle that back some if that feels better. And you don't always have to say it back either. It's not. I mean, it's not like a call and response song or something. Like I know you don't. If you don't say it in the moment, that doesn't mean you don't. I just just I just like saying it when it's what I'm feeling. And coincidentally, when I'm around you, it's what I'm feeling a lot. I I'm glad. uh, you are you are so wonderful. you just you just make me so happy. I just never thought I I don't know. I I I've, I feel like life is kind of about wearing different hats sometimes. Every person is a lot of people at the same time. There's this episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation where they're doing like an archaeological expedition thing, and this archaeologist teacher that Captain Picard had comes and gives him this thing, this kind of like little statue thing, and then when you open the statue, there's these little statues within it, kind of like those like nesting dolls, but it's one big one with all these like little ones inside of it. And the captain says that it's kind of like this idea of when within each of us there's all these different people and they all come together to make us. And I remember seeing that when I was a little kid, and that really kind of stuck with me because I don't know, that's just that's kind of what I think of. Because I mean, there's the you at work, and the you by yourself, and the you with one group of friends, and the you with another group, and the you with family, and you give each of those people a version of you, a part of you, different parts depending on who you're with. And I even the parts where you're almost playing someone else, I don't like to think that any of those parts are fake, because they're still a part of you. They're a part that you made because you felt like you needed it, and if you made it, there's at least a part of your truth in it, even if it's just that by virtue of it being in opposition to the rest of you, it shines a light on the parts that feel more real. But then there are those rare people that you meet where you feel like you can give them all of you, every version of you, and not just showing them all those sides, but explaining them, giving the context for them, pulling back the curtain and explaining why each of those yous are a part of you, and what makes them come out and what makes them retreat, and how to bring some of them forward or push some of them back, and that's such a special thing to be that with someone. And it doesn't have to be a romantic thing. It's just an intimate thing, a thing that you can share with someone when they're that special kind of person to you. But then with you, with us, to have that added layer of a romantic self as well, and being able to share that me too, with all of its dents and bruises and bright spots and shiny parts, to truly have that person that I can share everything, every me with. I just, I just never really was able to imagine a world where I could have that for as fast and frantic and looping as my mind can be, and just envisioning a million different futures all the time. I could never really get the picture of what that would look like to materialize. And then to find that with you, to realize that I was already there. To to notice it in retrospect, even, and instead of something that was haunting me, wondering if it was going to come. It wasn't that at all. It was realizing all at once that I was already there, without any fanfare, without any panic, just already living it. Something we slipped into that easily that I didn't even notice how seamlessly it had happened until it was already there. It still feels surreal. Really surreal. Surreally good. That got really introspective. Yeah. So, in conclusion, I love you. I'm really grateful for you, and now I think I could use some water myself, because my throat's pretty dry. Oh, hold on a second. Okay. Oh, okay. Hi, Damian.
Hi, Lasko. I have a favor to ask.
What's up?
I know about the trip.
What? What do you? When you? What could you mean? I don't, I don't,
The birthday trip. My birthday trip. The one you and Huxley are planning.
oh.
He told me about it. He told me everything, and now he wants me to take a look at the Google Doc that you've been working on with all the plans, so you should share it with me. Now.
Damian, if he wanted you to look at it, he would have just shown it to you. I don't.
Lasko, please, you have to send me the file. I just need to know what's happening. I don't even need to change any of the plans. I just need to see them. I need to know what we're doing. I need to know where we're going.
It's supposed to be a surprise, Damian. I can't. I can't tell you. I'm sorry.
Lasko, you have to help. You understand how this feels in a way that none of the others do. We handle it differently, I get that, but you know how this feels. I feel like my brain is on fire. I hate surprises. Please just send me the file. I don't even know what I'm supposed to be packing. And when I brought that up, Huxley told me he'd just pack the bag for me. And the next thing I know, the surface of the coffee table caught on fire. So for the sake of my sanity and my property, please, just...
who are you talking to?
I gotta go. Just send me the link. Please, bye.
Oh, God. No, it was Damian. It sounds like he found out about the trip somehow and was trying to get more details. I sympathize with it. With him. I do. I mean, I'm not. I'm not exactly the best with surprises from either side, keeping them or receiving them, and I'm not I'm not even as much of a well, I mean, control freak sounds mean. I'm not quite as I don't know what the nice way to say control freak is. Well, I'm less of one than he is. He's very I mean, you know, even by now, he's very hands-on with plans, and usually that's great. I mean, Damien is great at planning things and outlining things and making spreadsheets for events that most people would just come up with on the fly, even if it comes at the detriment for any possibility for spontaneity. But honestly, I mean, I can really relate to that inclination. I mean, I get it. You know, when you plan for every eventuality, whatever minor or even major inconvenience inevitably comes up. I mean, it's probably nowhere near as bad as all the horrible possibilities your brain came up with when you should have been sleeping the night before, or a week before, or every night leading up to the event from the moment you hear about it until the very moment that it's starting. And there's a kind of comfort in that the reality of the situation is never as bad as the worst version that you committed yourself to inventing instead of just living in the moment as it happened. But unfortunately, that's also built on the foundations of life spent in pained rumination and an entire well of creativity directed only towards inventing fantasy scenarios that just amplify your anxieties unnecessarily. So, yeah, I get it. I get where he's coming from, but I promised Huxley I'd leave it to him to know the best way to handle it. I mean, he knows Damien and his limits better than any of us. For my part, I'm just determined to make it the best birthday trip possible, which is plenty anxiety-inducing all on its own. Well, I mean, I love my friends, all of them, but it's just well, trying to think of plans that we'd all enjoy over the course of 5 whole days, with a particular focus on making sure that it's a good time for Damian, especially. I mean, seeing as it is his birthday, I well, we have a good amount of crossover of interests amongst all of us, or at least some crossover. Uh, oh God, I'm afraid this is gonna be a disaster. Uh, well, see that's the thing. I mean, we always have a good time, but that's also only for a few hours or a day at the stretch. It's not for 5 days, and it's not all of us staying together in one Airbnb. It's either gonna be really fun or really interesting. Um, that part where I mentioned pained rumination that's running on a loop in your mind, constantly inventing the worst thing that could possibly happen? Yeah, it's, it's, oh, I am out of my element here. Pardon the pun. Uh, well, I don't know exactly. I mean, when we all get together, uh, we usually play some kind of video game, or occasionally a board game. We eat, we talk. I don't know, friend stuff. We just kind of play it by ear. I don't know. Sometimes we have a plan, sometimes we don't. Uh, but I feel like we can't rely on that on a trip. I mean, it's gotta be good. It's gotta be perfect. We're going to all the trouble of going somewhere. I just don't want any part of it to end up being boring. I You think so? I don't know. I mean, you're right. I know you are. I'm sure we'll figure it out. I'm sure we'll all make it a fun time regardless. That's part of being that close of friends with somebody, I mean, you can have a good time together even without meticulous plans. I just I just don't want it to feel like a waste. I mean, it's taking a lot of work to get all 6 of our schedules lined up enough to pull this off, and I really want it to be good. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't worry about it so much. I mean, honestly, as long as I bring a Switch and enough controllers, we'll be fine no matter what. I mean, at that point, it wouldn't matter where we are. If there's Mario Kart or Smash Brothers on offer for Damian to flaunt his skills, he'd be happy. Really? Well, I'm glad you're excited. I mean, I was a little worried that you might be a little worried about spending that much time with everybody. Well, good. You do. I mean, you fit right in. Uh, I always wondered what it might be like if the day came and I met someone, and how that would work. If they'd fit in, if everyone would get along. I mean, I mean, half the time I can't believe even the five of us ever got along as well as we did. So then to add another person to the mix, it was, well, as established as someone who kind of worries about everything well in advance of it even being a reality, it was something I definitely considered more than once. But then the day finally came, and it wasn't anything to have worried about at all. Everybody loves you. You're easy to love. Oh, hey. None of that. You are. And they do. And I love you. So very much. Oh, and by the way, just curious, how do you feel about bowling?